Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to part 2 of my school survival guide, college survival tips. I don't even know what I'm gonna call this. But welcome back for part 2. So today's video, we're kind of gonna dive more into the after your classes are scheduled, the semester has started and you are now in class and you need help with just surviving the school year. Whether that be with memorizing your material, whether it be with studying, taking tests, retaining information, just things like that. So these are ways that I found helpful to do everything that I just mentioned essentially. The first thing that I would like to suggest is if you can, try to sit in the same seat or the same area. No, forget that. The same seat in your classroom or lecture hall. And this honestly is just for memory. I can't tell you how many times, and you know what, there was this, quick story. Let me digress for a little bit. Quick story, there was this girl who only on test days, she decided to get to class early and sit in my seat. And it would just drive me insane. And no, we don't have assigned seats, but I just feel like, why? Why? Like, I didn't understand why out of all the days you decided to sit in my seat. But the reason it would just piss me off is because I can't tell you how many tests I was taking where like I get stumped on a question and I have to think back of where I was when I learned it. And I can remember being in that seat and what angle I was looking at the teacher, where the professor was standing when they said it, what he pointed to, you know, even what I was writing, you know, like that, stuff like that. So that's a little memory trick that you can use to help yourself remember things. If not on every other day, at least on test days. If you have one seat where you can like sit there every test and remember learning information there or writing information there, trust me, it will help. So piggybacking off of that, as far as remembering what you wrote and when you wrote it, a big tip that I used to do this all the way from high school is to color coordinate. Colors are such a great memory device. And what I mean by that, with all of your notes, I have my notebook here. This is from my COM 102 class. I believe that was interpersonal communication. But each day I would buy a pack of like colored pens, and I would always do black, but then I'd do another color, or sometimes it would be blue in another color. But I'd buy a pack of pens. So this was one day where my notes were in black and green. The next day my notes were in black and blue. The next day my notes were blue and green. The next day, oh, this is continued. The next day I did pink and black. Pink and black until I finished that day. Then I did blue and black. And the reason that I say this, black and green. So you see, the reason that I say this is like each chapter or each day or each lesson is in a specific color, because again, when it comes back to the test, I can remember like writing it and it was in pink. Okay, so that has to go back to this chapter. This chapter was about A, B, and C, and you know, I also learned this and this, and you know, it just brings you back. So it's like small things that you can do to kind of increase your memory of learning things that are definitely gonna help you for the test. So yes, color coordinate. That is such a good idea. Now, I'm not saying you have to get down to the color like Mondays I use blue, Tuesdays like, no, it's not even that. But just like with your notes, if you can like use certain colors for certain subjects, or if you know, like even like my definitions are all gonna be in red, or you know, stuff like that, to where it's like when you think back, you're like, oh, what did that word mean? Or I remember in my notes, oh, it was that red line, and that red line said this, this, and this. Like, you know what I'm saying? You see how this fits? Okay, so now with that being said, leading into my next thing, I know we are in, you know, modern times. Everybody likes to have their laptop in class or their iPads, and they want to type their notes and be all cool and quick and efficient. More power to you. What I'm here to say is that you remember things so much better when you actually write them out. I love to type as much as the next person. Yes, it's efficient, especially in classes when the professors are quick and you just need to get the information down. I understand, and I've done it. However, and let me just say, when I did do that, I still color coordinated my notes. Just saying. But no, a lot of times typing becomes just so second nature, and I can type while they're talking. I'm not even necessarily looking at what I'm typing, or I type it all up, save it in my computer and go, and I never like, you know, pull out my computer to go through notes, or it's just like so not personal, and it doesn't, I don't know how to say it, but it feels like I'm just kind of like reading a script, but I'm not even taking in and retaining any of the information that I'm reading or typing. So I always recommend to write your notes. It's something that you just remember writing it. You remember what it looked like. You remember what the words look like around it. And again, you're gonna remember the colors. So I do definitely suggest handwriting your notes if you can. Typing is cool and it's fun and all, and it's efficient, but if you want to do well and you want to remember things, handwrite them. And this is kind of going off of that. I know a lot of my classes, they would have the option to print out your lecture slides. And so yes, that was nice to have the notes printed before class, but then because the notes are printed, you're not taking notes. Now you're just sitting there in lecture board following along on the presentation. If you have a great memory and that's how you learn, more power to you. Do that shit. But for me, I had to write. So even if I had the notes printed out, I would write on top of my notes, or I would just not print out the notes. I'd kind of use them as an outline or maybe as like a study tool, but I still, like, I don't know, call me old fashioned, I definitely had to handwrite something in order to remember. It's like it's almost like when you make a list. Now, I don't know if this is you guys, but this is definitely me. A lot of times I'll be like, okay, I need to get deodorant when I go to the store next time. And I blank. Like, I'll go to the store, get everything but deodorant. But then the minute I say like, okay, let me write this down, I remember I need to get deodorant. Now, once I'm in the store, I can't stop thinking about the fact that I already wrote down deodorant. So like, I know I need deodorant so much so that I don't even need to look at the list because I remember writing down deodorant. You see what I'm saying? So just like something between, and I know there's studies behind this and professors would suggest this as well, but there's just something about the act of writing it down that just really etches it into your memory. So another tip that I can give you in regards to, you know, just staying on top of your assignments and making sure things are turned in and actually done and completed, because trust me, I struggle with that, okay? And it wasn't even that I was lazy or I didn't want to do the work. I would just simply forget. And I'm keeping it all the way real with you in these videos. I was not a planner type of person. I did not have my planner where I wrote down my assignments and I would check them out. Like, that wasn't me. It just wasn't me. I tried putting in my phone. That didn't work. I tried writing sticky. Like, it just didn't work. My tip would be to schedule consistent due dates. And so this is particularly helpful in a situation or a course where you have something like discussion questions or reflections or short essays or reading responses that are due every week at the same time, especially if there's like an online component oh my god, this is definitely applicable to online components. So for example, I had some courses where each week we had to do a discussion question. So we would have our our class time and we would learn whatever in the class, and then by Friday, midnight on Friday, we had to post a discussion question and respond to 2 others. And so it was just, it's hard to balance, like, okay, did I do this week's discussion question already? Oh, okay, I already did it, don't have to worry about that. So now I'm just waiting for next week's assignment. Like, so what I learned to do was just to create a scheduled due date and a due time. Even if I do it ahead of time, this is my scheduled time where I'll check and make sure that it's done, or I'll cross it off my list. So, let's say my discussion questions are due Friday at midnight. Well, I have school Monday through Thursday. Friday is my day off from school, but I might work in the morning. So I schedule it, let's say, okay, 5 p.m. on Friday. I know I'm gonna be home. If I'm gonna go out that weekend, it's not gonna be until later. So I can set a weekly alarm. 5 p.m. every Friday, my alarm will go off saying like, hey, did you do your discussion question? Hey, bitch, did you do your reflection? Hey, before you go out, did you make sure your assignment was turned in? And so if I did it during one of my gaps in between classes, perfect. Then I don't have to worry about it. Cross it off my list, cancel my alarm. Or if I didn't do it, perfect. I know every Friday, let me make sure my discussion question is due. Even that works with like scheduling live. People are like, oh my god, what are you doing this Friday? Oh, Friday, I'm not doing nothing. I'm out of school, I have work, and then I just have a discussion question that's due. Like, it'll start to become like your routine. And then, if you have plans Friday, perfect. Well, I know Friday I'm not gonna be able to do my discussion question, so let me make sure I get it done earlier in the week. So yes, if you have the opportunity, definitely try to set up scheduled due dates for certain assignments. And this doesn't just work with like end of the week assignments. If you have Monday, Wednesday classes, you know that, you know, you have something that's due every Wednesday for this class. Then make sure like Tuesday night you have it done, or set aside time for on your gap on Wednesday before this second class that the assignment's due. That's when you complete that assignment. Or hell, do it right after the assignment is given to you. Like I said, use those gaps in between classes to get work done. And so my next suggestion, kind of going off of that and just more of a reiteration, finish schoolwork at school. I cannot stress this enough. Oh my God. And I'm not even just saying like, you know, just to get it out your way and out of your hair. I find, and you guys might be the same way, but again, I'm keeping it a buck with y'all. I'm not a homework type of person. I get home, I get lazy, I get sleepy, I get hungry, and I am the, you know what? If that had a trophy for procrastination, bitch, I am the HBIC when it comes to HPIC, head procrastinator in charge. I will procrastinate until hours before I have to get up for school in the morning to do my assignments. So there have been times when I have 10-page papers due, essays due, you know, questions due, like whatever the case might be, and I just know myself. So if I don't have work after school, I will not leave school until I finish that assignment. I will take my black ass to the library and I will do my work in the library. Because yes, I have a computer at home. Yes, I have my books at home. Yes, I have all my materials and everything that I could possibly need to finish this assignment at home. Will I do it? No. It's just more, or I'm not even gonna say no, but it's just more likely that the assignment is not going to be completed if I wait until I get home to do it. So if you have the opportunity, go to the library, go to the computer lab in between your classes. Hell, even if you have, now this is, I'm keeping it real. People might not suggest this, but if you have a class that's like an easy A type of class, for example, my business writing class that I had was so easy. We literally would just go in there, they would like watch movies or something like that, or like, you know, watch a little film, and we just have like a pop quiz, and it was just like so easy. If you just came from your history class and you got to write a little reflection about what you read about the Trail of Tears or whatever, and you know you're about to sit into this business writing class where you're not gonna do shit for the next hour and 15 minutes, break out that notebook, break out the textbook, break out your laptop, whatever, and complete it right then and there. Like, do it while you're at school, while you're in that mentality of that focus mode, in that education mode, in that scholarly environment. You know what I'm saying? And I know you guys feel me on this. Like, you just, when you're at school, you do much work, you're already in that mindset, so just keep it going. Take advantage of that. Do your work at school if you can. I find it helpful to open your book in class. There's a lot of times when we just keep our book for when we have to do assignments at home, which is great. I'm not opposed to it, but I do suggest bringing your book to class every day. And if you guys are on chapter 13, you open your book to chapter 13 and you follow along with the lesson, and you know, you can see the vocabulary words in there. You see the examples, and then you're able to turn the page and you can follow along, and you know, make sure the teacher's going along with what you're saying. And raise your hand, be like, okay, wait, in the book, they're saying that this means this, this, and this, and it can be applied towards this. So can you tell me more about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, the book is excellent. It is so instrumental. Especially, and this is a situation that I am all too familiar with, there's a lot of courses, particularly math courses for some reason, where it seems like they hire the professor based off of their knowledge and their expertise in the field, but not on their teaching ability. And so what would happen is the teachers had very, very thick accents, barely spoke English even, or they were just so board focused. And what I mean by that is they would have their backs to this lecture hall. You're in a big lecture hall for one, have their backs to you, they don't take questions, they're kind of just writing problems on the board and going through the book or whatever, and you're just sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, if you get lost or left behind, you're screwed. So again, have that book out and be able to teach yourself. Still listen and pay attention, but read the book. Follow along, especially with math. Look at those examples. Work out the examples in your book. Follow along with what the teacher's saying, and you know, make sure you have it. I guess what I'm saying with this is just like, don't be afraid to self-teach. I was so big on self-teaching. There's a lot of things that I just really couldn't grasp by having somebody else explain it to me, but it wasn't until I was able to explain it to myself, Or, this is going to be another tip that's going to be coupled with this, explaining it to someone else. That's how you know you understand something, if you're able to explain this to someone else. Thankfully, I had my best friend in a lot of my classes, so a lot of times we learn, and then I'd be able to turn to her and be like, okay, so what he's saying is, if I do this here, and this to this, and this means this, and blah, 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 blah. So if I do blah, 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 then it's just like, okay, perfect. If she understands it, then I understand it, it makes sense, and I know that I have it. But again, I wouldn't be able to do that without the textbook or without writing down my notes. So kind of touched on this in that last example. Ask questions. Ask questions. Ask questions. Ask questions. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Raise your hand. Ask a question. There is nothing more damaging than getting left behind, and especially with math. If your teacher is getting carried away teaching the course and everybody's around you is just understanding or whatever, don't look, girl, don't be afraid to feel stupid. You paid to be here. You paid to receive this information and to understand it and to do well and have the opportunity to do well in the class. The teachers and the professors are there for you. Okay? So
can you go back, please? I didn't understand what you just did there or how you came out to this solution. You just said da-da-da-da-da. Can you explain what you meant by that, because I'm still not grasping it? Well, in the book it says that da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm so sorry. Can you just repeat that for me, please? Because I didn't quite get that in my notes.
Do not be afraid to raise your hand and ask questions. In fact, professors like that shit because it shows that you're listening. It shows that you're there. It shows that you value the material. And you better, all that money that you coming out your pocket paying for that tuition, girl, you better get it all. Okay, and I feel like this video is gonna be long, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it on this last tip. And this last tip may be an obvious one, but make a friend. Make a friend in the class. And this is something that I didn't even really do myself, because I was definitely the type, if I didn't know nobody in the class, I ain't talked to nobody. I came in with my little drink, with my shades on. I sat in my seat and I learned my material, took my notes, did my assignments, and I was out of there. I tried not to sit next to nobody. I was just not a social person, believe it or not, in college. So, but there were those days when I would miss a class, or I didn't get something, or I was confused on something, or there was something that was due and the teacher wasn't answering questions, because I have had professors who were like, you know, due date is here, I'm not gonna answer any questions, you send the syllabus, da 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 da. So it was so helpful to be able to turn to somebody and just be like, okay, hey, so for the assignment due next class, what did you do, or what is yours about, or how are you tackling it, or how far along are you, what pages was it on, were you able to find this answer because I couldn't find it, or you know, things like that. Or hey, I missed last class, did you have the notes, can I take a picture of your notes, or can you send me the notes for this, or did you get this because I missed what he was saying here, or did you understand, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so helpful. And a lot of professors do recommend, like, you know, you exchange numbers with the person next to you just in case you miss something, definitely. But even if you don't want to go that far, if you're uncomfortable with that, if you guys want to add each other on Facebook, or if you guys just even want to have the opportunity to talk in class, after class, hey, what do you have a class after this, can I ask you questions after class, did you want to study together, everything like that. It's something that they've definitely told us, at least me, every year since freshman year, and I've always been like, no, I'm not making friends, I'm not giving nobody my number, oh my god, that's so awkward. So no, make that friend, bitch. Get that connect, because trust me, you will need a plug when your ass starts slipping, falls behind, wakes up late, doesn't come to class, and now you missed the instructions for the assignment that's due next class. Get that friend, girl. Get that friend. Alright, you guys, that wraps up part 2 of my school survival, college survival tips video series thing. I hope you guys found this video informative or entertaining, or both. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Give it a thumbs up if you didn't, because I'm out here trying to help the children, okay? I'm all about that education. Comment down below if you guys have any suggestions, or if anything that I've mentioned has worked for you and you got a testimony. And more importantly, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any more of this Tyler with an O goodness. And I will catch you all on my next video. Peace.